Hey, welcome to the new United Codes Live. And today I have my lovely colleagues Philipp and Kevin with me, and we will discuss something about Apex 24.2. So, guys, my name is Dimitri. We are very happy to have you here. And I wanted to ask, Philipp and Kevin, what do you think about 24.2? We are now 3 weeks after the release. What do you think?
Yeah, first off, the big thing I think is it's delayed. It's merely maybe 25.1, but I guess they still do 2 releases this year, hopefully. But of course, I don't have any answers, but I'm curious why it was delayed, which feature took so long. In general, I think a lot of new AI features. That's probably was expected. I'm really interested in the JSON Duality support. That's Kevin is going to show that. I like the template component improvements.
Maybe you showed the new features list.
Yeah.
Let's quickly go over it. So there are office hours which go into a lot of detail on all the different features. So what we thought to do is just discuss how we see things, maybe show a few things, and then of course answer your questions, or if you would like to discuss with us, we would love to talk to you, of course. But so yeah, every software thing on the planet today is having AI, and it's covering AI, and Apex isn't different. They couldn't stay behind, so they put a lot of effort into integrating AI. So I will show a few things of this, guys. I found it quite interesting, but I really wanted to see what is the difference by just using ChatGPT or any open other AI thing. Why would we use this built-in stuff in Apex? So I will give a bit of things in my demo. So what is next, Philipp?
So JSON Data Sources.
Yeah, so I will cover a little piece about JSON data sources and the support for Apex components in 24.2. They've also added support for duality views. So yeah, that's a nice feature. I will cover it more in depth in just a few minutes.
If you look at this release, a lot of the things that you see here are related to Oracle Database 23 AI. And I don't like that the on-premise version isn't available yet. I do like that Apex is covering all those features and making them available to us. But yeah, many of those features you can actually not use in many production environments with customers, unless you are maybe in the Oracle Cloud. But to be honest, the 23 AI had some issues in the beginning, especially with result cache and those kind of things. So I don't think there are many production databases yet on 23 AI. So those are interesting things that Apex already covers it. And JSON especially, I really like, because everybody is using it. So I'm really interested, Kevin, to see what you're covering.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think JSON, you can use that feature if you're not on 23 AI. Duality views, of course, is a feature of 23 AI, so that's only available in that version.
Okay, next up we have workflow enhancement. Like, are you guys actually using workflows in any project, in any app?
Not at the
Not
moment,
really.
no.
Yeah, same for me. I've looked into it when it was released, and like this is why we can't go into depth about these. But like workflows within workflows, I think that's nice to see. I mean, that opens a new window of complexity. I know, like
Mhm.
for BPMN, this is a big thing to just call other instances and other sub workflows. So yeah, there's a lot of progress in that area. And I think it's nice that they commit long term on enhancing workflows. I think it's already like a few. When was it released? Workflows 22.2, not 23.2 or 24.1? I'm not sure.
Yeah, like they made small steps. But I
Mhm.
think every application is actually using workflows. But like when you're coming from the older times, like you have your own ways to create those workflows. And then you have flows for Apex. But it's definitely like interesting, like the work that they have done with workflows. Now that there's a visual component to it, I like it a lot more. Before, like, why would I use it? Like our own packages were really nice too, and table structures. So, but yeah, but it's interesting. I think more people will use it now that like all the components are there.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, also for new applications, if you start a new application and there's some kind of workflow you have to build, you can take a look at these new components instead of doing it your own way in packages. So I think that's a great feature as well.
Mm. Okay, next up, REST source enhancements. So these are, I think, really niche, small enhancements because, of course, the
Mhm.
traditional REST support is already great. Carsten doing a great job. But like, also nice to see that like small things like special pagination, special order by null clauses. This looks like, yeah, in some rare cases, if you had issues, then this improves the support for REST. We as plugin developers, of course, I think we like this because we also have to think about text messages in our plugins. I mean, text messages are commonly used for translations, and this improvement overhauls text messages. And one thing I like to see is that you have name parameters. I just looked quickly over it, but like before, if you have a text message and you want a parameter from the application to be displayed in the text, then you had like %0, %1, etc. But now you can actually give a name like here foo bar, so you can name parameters to make it more easily to program these text messages. I think that's nice to see.
But also to make like reusable things, it's much better. And before you had to create so many different text messages if you wanted to do that, or you had to build your own system. And now, like with these parameters, you can customize it a lot. I think it's a very neat feature. But just like anything, like if you didn't know it existed, then yeah, you would never use it. But like if I look at all the improvements that Apex has been doing over time, I see two like big tracks. It's like one is like what is the industry requiring, or like what does Gartner want that software has to be checked off, and like you have like AI and like all the new things. But then the other thing is like Apex is really going into this enterprise level application building framework, and I think this fits into it too. All the things with like CI/CD that they are doing, or like a feature. I don't know if they actually listed here, but when you export your application, that it's much smaller and that the templates are reused. Like all this is, for me at least, it's like to make enterprise level application with very big teams. And you really see it at Oracle themselves. They're heavily using Apex internally to build their own systems now with huge teams. And this is why they probably need all those features too.
Yeah, completely agree.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so something about the translations, Philip. I think from this version you don't need extra applications if you want translated applications. So you just have one application with translated text messages, and you don't need extra applications anymore. So I think that's a big improvement as well.
I didn't know that. So the if you had a translation before, you seeded it, and in the background it created these shadow applications, and now it's not. Cool.
I don't think it's the case anymore. No.
So next, Oracle Fusion. I think that's not our area. Anyone of you, any experience with Fusion? No.
No, I see it every time when I go to Cloud World or before Open World. It looks cool, and I see why Oracle is doing it. But like, to be fair, like the Apex was used a lot with EBS extensions, and this is the next thing for me. Like, instead of EBS, it's now like Fusion apps. But again, it fits into their strategy of like enterprise grade applications.
Yeah, agree. Developer experience, that's also what we like to see in every release. Application object dependencies, that's cool. If you change a column name or something and stuff breaks in your app, you can quickly see it before or even after it, which parts are broken.
We had this with Ape too, huh? So we had Apex Project I, which we try to enhance like the developer experience by using Ape, and we had like this object dependencies too. But of course, like know that there's an API or like a new version. Like Apex always had it, then they took it off, so we had to provide it to people, and now it's back, but in a better way. Yeah, it's cool that they have done it. We should update Ape by using this whenever you're on 24.2 too.
Yeah. Export and import pages across workspaces. This is cool. A lot of times I had to go into the export file, change the application or something to trick Apex into letting me import my page. That's a nice feature. Builder extensions is a cool thing. I think also like Ape supports builder extensions. Super cool that in the page designer you can just quickly go to the Ape app and directly in the right place where you want to be. It knows the context of your builder session. That's cool that it's also enhanced. What I really like is this one. If you're now on the page designer, you can see it actually. It's a small, but like if you in the title of the page in your browser, you can see which app and page you're currently editing, not just the page designer.
Yeah, that really comes in handy. That's true.
Finally, in my area, I'm just kind of disappointed why this is so at the end of the page. Template components got an overhaul. Grouping support, that's what I'm going to show you. Also some new flag icons in Font Apex and utility classes. That's cool. Accessibility improvements, always nice, mostly under the hood. Open telemetry support. This is interesting because like I tried to read a little bit more about it, but this is basically in standard for like getting telemetry data of clients. So it really runs, I guess it's JavaScript, it runs on the user's clients and it will send back data to you about like loading times, etc. So you can analyze it.
They actually use it in the Oracle Cloud consoles. They standardize on that. But I think this is why it's there too. But I would love to see like a sample application where they really, or a white paper where they really explain like if you want to do it in a good way together with ORs and like maybe your server, like this is a way to do it. I would love to see that.
Yeah. Unlimited attributes or item plugins, that's also interesting for us. It's like many improvements grouping for that. That's also interesting because like first I was like confused about select one, select many, select list, pop-up LOV. I think like, yeah, select many and select one will receive probably more updates, or like under the hood are different. It looks like they reuse also some templates in here, template logic. So that if they improve template components, they can also improve use these improvements in these components. It's also nice to see.
But like, which one do you use? like as a developer, which select list do you use now? There's like different ones.
Different
That's a
choices.
good question
Yeah.
also for the chat. If you have any preference, please let us know. But I'm mostly not on developing newer versions. But I don't know for sure. Kevin,
Maybe it comes down to personal preference. Like if client A wants to do the multi-select in a certain way, or wants to use a new component. Yeah.
Yeah, but for me, like I would love to just see like, okay, that Apex says like this is the one to pick from now on, and all the others
preferred
are
way of
either
doing
legacy or something like that. Like you give so many choices to developers, like why would you? Like we have to create an ape rule to see like if everybody followed the same guidelines that we provide in this application. So it's good for us. It's also good to have choice, I guess. But like, why not just pick one which can do it all, and then yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Faceted,
my opinion.
faceted search enhancements, that's also nice. I love this component and great to see updates to it. Yeah, and the rest are typical small stuff. So I guess we can jump to one of the showcases. Kevin will show us how to use JSON Duality support in Apex 24.2.
Yes. I'm going to share my screen. Is this
You
okay
might want
for
to zoom
everyone
in a
to
bit.
read? Yeah. Okay. Like this?
A bit more, I think, maybe. Like if you're still, you can still see everything. Okay, yeah, that's great.
Okay. All right. So in the new version, we have a few extra options in shared components. In data sources, we now have JSON sources and duality views. So duality views only available if you're on 23 AI, of course. Now, what I did is I have a table. Let me make that a little bit bigger as well. So this is coming from a blog post. Oracle has a blog post on using JSON sources. And I just have a table with an ID and a JSON document. The JSON is looking like this. So basically, this is order information with your order number and some extra data. And within that order, you have line items. So an order can consist of one or more items. If we go back to Apex, I've already created the data source for JSON. So you can create it here. And you just have to provide a name. And if you load the data, Apex will try and figure out your data profile. Or you can also provide a schema describing your data. You have both options. So if we take a look at the data profile here, we can see that we have this ID and JSON document column, and then we have all our data. So the PO number, the reference, and I think it's since version 24.1 that the REST data sources added functionality for nested data. And this is the case here as well. So for duality views and JSON sources, we do have nested functionality as well. We can see that here. So our line items, which correspond to our line items array in our JSON structure, Apex picks it up and it can see, okay, this is an array, and all those items below, they belong to the line items array. So this is actually a nested structure. Now, we
With
can
your
use
table,
this.
that's just a club, right? It's a club, and it has this JSON in it.
Yeah, it's a club, and it has just JSON in it. Yeah, exactly.
And then, yeah, what is cool that Apex just you said, okay, this is my table and this is the column, and then it recognized everything straight away. And I love that they recognize the arrays and all that. Like, I think this is a very neat thing.
Yeah, this is a cool feature indeed.
Palawan actually has a question. Does it go 2 or more levels deep? So is it just the surface, or can you go really deep?
Well, I think it goes more than 1 level deep. I haven't tested it, but I think it will work. I don't have an example of it yet, but
just copy line items inside line items, and then you can upload and see it. I'm putting you on the spot. Or it's hard to load it in, maybe here.
I'm not sure if
here.
if you managed
Like there should be like an edit button, right? In Visual Studio Code.
Yeah. Maybe we can do that at the end of the presentation.
But I also think like it should work because like it's looks like the same UI and stuff from the REST data source discovery, and this also supports multiple layers. And the UI also looks like it can support multiple layers.
So you can use these sources in your Apex components. So here I have an interactive report, and instead of using a local database or a REST source, I can now choose a JSON source or a Duality view. And actually, this is what is being generated. So I don't have the nested rows selected here. So what this does is it only takes the top level of your data. And this will result in your shipping instructions and your top level of your JSON document. You can edit it, you can change your data, you can apply your changes, and your JSON column and your JSON data is updated accordingly. Now, we can also do the same thing for Duality views. So let me create one. I have a Duality view defined here. So I have one table, the same structure, an order table. It's called PO orders. And I have a detail table, PO items. So it's basically the same structure with a few less columns. So we're going to call this process orders Duality view. We can select the Duality view here. So here we are at the data profile. So this is what I said earlier. Apex recognizes, like we have an items array here, and all of those columns here, they belong to the items array. So we can just say create. Now we have our source, and then we can create a page. Like let's make an interactive report. So orders Duality view. We can include a form page, item based on the Duality view. And instead of local database, we can say, okay, we can choose the Duality view. And we could select the nested rows here, but actually that doesn't work as I would expect. And we'll see why in just a little bit. But if we go further, we select the primary key. And our page is being created. So we have our orders. And we can edit this data in the same way as for our JSON source. Now, the thing with JSON structures, if you look at a structure like this, it's all about hierarchy, right? Nested records. Most of the time, you would have more than one level in your JSON document, and this is where I'm a little bit lost at the moment, because I would say like these JSON sources or the duality views should be great for master detail, for example. So we can create another page, and we can say master detail. I'll take a side by side here. Let's base it upon the duality view. So we have to click advanced here, because otherwise we can select our duality view that we need. So we select our duality view, and we say, okay, we want the nested rows, the items, we want to include them as well. Primary key, the display column will be, let's just say PO number and a reference. And this will be our detail page, also based on the duality view. And yeah, this is where it gets a little bit complicated, I guess, because what is the master column? It's the ID, of course, but what is the detail column? We don't really have a detail column here. If you have two tables, normally in your child table, you would have a foreign key, which routes to your parent table. But in this case, we don't have such an ID. Also, for a duality view, you cannot include, like, for example, the ordered ID here, because that would lead to an error creating your duality view. So we don't really have the child ID here. So, okay, we can say this ID, we can match it. We can create a page. And actually, I get a page with my order information and my details. So this actually looks pretty cool at first sight, but there are a few problems with it. I can't add records, so I'm getting this error, and that is, of course, because I've selected the ID from the upper part of my JSON document as the primary key. I've tried different solutions with combining the primary key with, for example, the PO number here, or the item number, which is also unique in my case. But I couldn't get it to work. So I know there's an office hours tomorrow about JSON sources and maybe duality views. So I'm really interested in how they would solve this hierarchical dilemma, so to speak.
So like duality views, they have one object has one primary key, the underscore ID thing. And for the child relations, where you want to connect them with the master detail, you're missing on the child's level the foreign key ID, because duality view doesn't let you include it, right?
Yeah, that's the way I see it, or the way they made it available within the page designer. So yeah, that's something strange.
So we have a question. Do you have a duality view example with update support. So can you create a form on a duality view?
Yeah, so this is what we have here. So normally I would change the cost center to 5666.
Nice.
And the record is updated. So yeah,
And
that works out of the box as long as it's on the top level. You could also select the line items that we have here. So the line items will actually appear in the report as well. But then you can only add the information on that line item level. So if you would edit here, those fields would become unavailable or read-only, and you would only get those line item fields here. But it also implies when you create a record, so now you can enter these fields, but they would be read-only, so you can't create new records. And yeah, that's then again part of the hierarchical question.
so you can
so that's
create
something that doesn't really work.
So, but you can create a form for each level, right? So, but not all in one, you say.
Well, we could, like for example, here we have all the text fields for the top level, and yeah, what I would expect is that maybe we could add an interactive grid here, for example, which shows all the detailed lines, and you can do that. That is no issue. But the problem is you can't save that interactive grid because what is your primary key? It's yeah, or it's all in one column, right? So I wasn't able to figure out how we could save the data in a nested level. Maybe that's not supported for now. I mean, I can
It's a
imagine
good
that
question
it's
to ask tomorrow then.
yeah, exactly. Maybe it's just you can use the JSON source or the duality view just to update data, not in a nested way. That would make perfect sense. But they do provide the options in, like, if you have a master detail page or if you have a form page, and they provide that nested functionality. So I think that's a bit confusing, or yeah, I don't know how to do it just by
There was another question, like what is the Oracle database version 93 or 23 AI? Like you're on a 23 AI database, I guess.
yeah,
And
I'm on a local 23 AI database.
yeah.
But
And
normally
yeah, go ahead.
yeah, normally the JSON source, it should also work on 19C.
Yeah.
So that's
Or like
19C,
duality
and then
views
duality
are-
view is 23
Yeah,
AI.
duality views is 23 AI. Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so Vito asked something. Is there any validation on the fields of the JSON? Say we have a number in the JSON, can you have a string in it, or save string number if the original value was a Boolean? Well, this is, I guess, regarding to how you set up duality views, right?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think there's no validation out of the box.
I mean, like, if you construct the duality view and you have like an underlying table and you set it to type number,
Oh yeah, for the
the
duality
duality
view,
view
of course.
will
Yeah,
try and update to that field, and then if it's not a number, the update will fail. But like, you
yeah,
can set up your duality
exactly.
view that you can use like a JSON store for some part of the duality view. If you just use a JSON column for some part, then of course there is no type setting unless, I guess,
Yep.
you can again add a constraint manually.
Yeah,
and
or
also,
you have to add your validations manually in your page. That's also an option, of course.
but there's like in your JSON source, like when you do the mapping, there you have a type, data type 2. So I just quickly checked for Plamen, like how many levels deep. I just took like an AOP, like JSON structure, which has like customer orders, and products inside an order, and it shows perfectly all the different levels, just like we thought, like with the parent column, it's different. You have it here too, like line items, shippings, string JSON document, like, so you see the different arrays, but here is the column type as the data type as well. So
yeah, that's true. That's true.
You would do it here.
Yeah, exactly.
But like coming back to the Duality support feature, what I really want to see is like, I think we're currently stuck, Apex is stuck with this table thinking. Like everything was before you add a SQL statement and you get like a table with a fixed result size. JSON, of course, documents having this nested structures. So in the end, I want to have like a create a report, add something like our nested reports plugin that you can like drill down and open another table in it where you can see the child records. Or like form. This would be so great if you can add a form on a duality view, on a complete duality view. And as you said, for example, if you have an array, child array, if it would add an interactive grid to it, and you don't need to think about anything, just click save and all the data gets flushed into the database to the right place. That would be like my dream, I guess.
Yeah, because now you can add an interactive grid here. You can do it manually. But as I said, there's no way without errors at the moment of saving that nested data. And that is what I think a little bit of an issue now, or it's at least a little bit confusing.
Okay.
All right. Anything to add, Kevin, or?
No, if there aren't any more questions, I've already taken enough time, I guess.
It's great. We're good time. Okay, so I think you need to stop screen sharing.
Yes.
And I think I need to start. Oh, replace current. Oh. I need to share again. I need to stop sharing and then share again. Okay, now we're talking. So next topic is template components, one of my favorite features of Apex. And one thing they added is grouping support for template components. And I think that's great. That's one of the issues, I guess. Grouping is always, if you present data, someday you will want to group stuff. And now they added that. So let's take a look. For example, this is a theme component. Refresher, theme components are template components, but from the Apex theme. And this is the content raw. So I just have a query on tasks. So it's displaying here a task name, start and end date. So what I do also have here is I have a parent task. And I want to group my tasks by the parent task. So how can I add this grouping support? So I can go to my parent task. This is an ID. And I can scroll down on the column. And here is this group thing. So I can enable grouping on this thing. You can see now, actually, it's an erroring out. So here in the attributes of it, now where you configure what's displayed in the template component, where I said like titles this and this has now a grouping section. And in here, it requires a title. So what should I display here? So I can, for example, then use my parent task. And then I can see, oh, an error. Because now if you want to grouping support, you need to set a column to primary key. That's easily done. Just go to the ID column, set it to primary key. And now we have grouping supports. We can see we have this thing here. Okay, like, yeah, I wanted to group by the parent task ID, but like, I don't want to show the ID. I want to show a name. That's the cool thing with template components in general. So this is just a field and title field. You can write anything. So I can type task and then add another field in here, like the parent task name. And then I can like put this in colons. And now I have this. Great. Also, what you should care about, or what you will notice is like it will automatically set this order by. And in here, yeah, it just sets to the one that where you're grouping on. And nice, you can also like group on multiple things. then it's again saying, oh, order by must be changed. So you need to add all the ones. So I can like add project. It will allow you to do that, but it's probably you want to group by order by both group columns. I should have now updated of course, the title if I group by multiple ones to show it, but that's working great. Okay, so this is just from out of the box, but what if we have a plugin, a template component plugin, and we want to add grouping support for it? So that's what I looked at. So I have this small country list template component. It showcases a new universal theme flag icons. And you can see here it's Europe, and I can go to the next page. It's still Europe, then North America, etc. So how do we do this? So let's jump into the plugin here. Have you both actually developed a template component yet yourself?
No, not yet.
Oh, you should start. You should start. And in here, so this is like, I will rush over it. So if you have never developed something, this is probably much. But if you have already some experience, I try to focus on that. But you basically supply HTML templates for levels. So this is a partial. This is each row of data where you put a template for it. You can add styles in JavaScript. And then you have one for each row for the whole report. And now there's a new field here, and this is called report group. So we can supply a template for that. And basically now you add a level to the whole HTML structure. Before that, it was like, report row, what shows each row. Now it's like report group, what shows each row, basically. And so they used, for example, the default is an unordered list HTML tag, unordered list followed by an LI, list item. And normally, if you don't use groupings, then like each row is an LI, but the group itself basically is now the level under the report. So each report has the groups as list items, and in itself, each group opens another UL. So we just add another layer into the HTML. I hope this was not too confusing. But so yeah, in the end, it's really a nice implementation. You can see
So all the
here,
grouping, it's done on the client side, and like it's on the rendering of the component. It's not that like there's a new select statement being run.
the grouping will be done on the server. Template components are rendered on the server. Yeah. Currently, like, I'm not sure if they will change it. So also, like, we have like attributes are basically telling the user of the template component, you can map these values, these columns to these basically placeholders. So we have a new scope. Before that we have like a component ones and one for the whole region. And now you can like add attributes for the report group. That's exactly what this is doing. You tell basically I group by continent here. And what do you want to show as this grouping header here? Okay, so this looks a little bit basic. So I wanted to basically show you what's possible if you spend some time to maybe inspire you to create also some template components. So I created a nice version of this. And so here, for example, we have like these groups, and you can like expand and collapse these, and you can scroll to the side. Looks a little bit like Red Hood. And yeah, that's just a template component that utilizes these groupings. And I think you can see by that example that it's quite powerful, right?
Yeah, like
Yeah,
when I
definitely.
see this, I'm thinking about like the World Cup application that we are doing. Like if we could build out like the schedule, it would be awesome. But just like one template component. This might be another challenge for you, Philipp.
Oh damn! What have I gotten into? Yeah. Let's see. New challenge. One thing I would like to see actually is like notice how I enabled like this grouping in the page designer. I really like interactive report because it allows users to say, now I want a group. So users can use the actions menu to customize the intake report. So I think it would be great if you allow users, like for a few releases ago, they allowed this order by thing where you can have an item so users can change the order by themselves. I think it would be great in the future if users can decide if they want a group or not.
Oh, cool.
Agree?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, this is template components. I also want to quickly show you some universal theme enhancements. And for this, I created some demos in the Apex Template Studio. It's a small app where you can basically edit HTML templates specifically for Apex. And you can just visit ats.unitedcodes.com, and then you can see the examples for yourself. On the upper right, examples, collections, Apex 24.2. First one is, I already showed that, is flag icons. So we have now font Apex icons for, I guess, mostly all flags there are, at least for countries. And like EU has, for example, also flag. And it's just FA-flag 2-digit ISO code of the country.
Will be great for our football application as well.
As well, yeah. We have you lobbied for the Apex team to add specific features for that? So more interesting stuff, flex order. This is really in depth. So if you're developing a responsive Apex app, you might want to change stuff around if it's on a small screen. And so, for example, we have an app where on the desktop page, it shows the main content on the left side, and on the right side is an information section. And like on mobile, we wanted to ship it up to before the content, so it's immediately visible before the main content on mobile. And for that, you can use CSS flags, and flags has an order attribute where you can reorder this. So for example, this is just normal flags, so 1, 2, 3, 4, as they are defined. But here in the second one, we redefine it. So we say the fourth is actually the first one, and CSS will automatically display it first. So we can reverse the order. And the cool thing, this is now the new stuff, they added classes to, like, based on the width, like responsiveness, to change that. So as you can see here with the turquoise ones, if I change the width, it's reordering. And these are the new order classes. Yeah, they're really cool. In depth,
When
I guess.
I saw it first, like I was very confused, but then like I know when we design specific screens for like mobile, now you don't have to do it, and you can use this, like just the example that you give makes total sense. So very cool.
Great. Next one is a lot of new typography classes. And then this is also, I think, pretty great if we, like, Apex adds a lot of templating stuff, so you can add templates to select many, to cards, to template components. And then you start to design in HTML. And yeah, you can, of course, always go back and create classes in CSS for yourself, but most of the time we want to reuse Apex classes, like to make it still feel like native Apex, only that you designed some custom stuff. So for example, now we have classes to easily just reuse Apex specific styling. So we have like heading classes, subheadings for different levels, body sizes, font family. Some of these are new, some are not. Font weight, this is super nice. So in a template, you want to quickly highlight something, just add uText semi-bold or uText bold. Text limit, some of these also existed, like line clamp, that's pretty great. So for example, here I said line clamp 2, and then it just, even if the text is longer, after 2 lines, it will just add these dots, so it doesn't overflow your visual representation. Now they also added this hyphening, so that this will not limit the lines, but it will just hyphenate some long words, like biggest Apex fan in the world. And we have some text color styles. So now you can design cool texts without having to use CSS. And at last, we also have new shadow classes. Shadows, of course, existed before in Apex, but again, you had to copy the styles in CSS. If you want to add a shadow, that's just the normal Apex shadow. Now we can use shadow as MD, and LG, and just add shadows to your boxes by that. Okay, that's one thing still, like some promo. We're showing all these new features. We're on 24.2, we're on 23 AI for the demos. If you also want to check out some of these features on your machine, check out this GitHub repository. It's called UC Local Apex Dev. It's a Docker script, etc. So you can quickly get 23 AI with Apex 24.2 running on your machine to test around and play around. We also add some scripts to make it easier to create some users to easily back up all the data, etc. Please check this out. I will put it in the comments. All right. So next to you, Dimitri, or is there any question? No?
I don't think so. No.
All right. Then, Dimitri, you can share.
Okay. I was just having some issues with my browser, it looks like. Okay.
Oh, it's now.
I fired it.
working.
Yeah. But when I zoom in, then let's see if it works or not. So basically, like, I wanted to try the new AI stuff. So you configure this on the workspace level. But I always wondered, like, what if I just go to OpenAI, like, and I start to enter here something like give me a cool name or something like that. Like, what if I wanted to have something like this in Apex? So, like, what I did in the new version, let's say I want to have this chat thing on this page here. So the first thing I tried is I said, okay, I will create a new region and I'm searching for, like, give me like a chat region, but like I didn't find it. So then I said, okay, like maybe it's somewhere else. And then I checked the documentation. So what you have to do is you just create a region, then you go into dynamic actions. On page load, they created a new dynamic action. Let's call this like OpenAI. And in here, you have now under the AI section, there's generate text with AI or show AI assistant. So I said, okay, let's do this. Then you have to configure, like, which configuration do you want? Like, I don't have any. Which service do you want? Or will you use like OpenAI or like OCI or like your own LLM? So you can configure this on the workspace level. So we are using the application default. Where do you find that? Like if I would open this here, edit application definition, here's my AI, and here's the servers that you can have. You can also like go on like the workspace. Well, there are different ways. You can go to shared components, then you go here, AI services. This is the same as workspace utilities, and go to generative AI services, and you can configure them here. So if you want to have another one, you can create one here. So I will just use the one that I have specified on the application, which is OpenAI. It tells me like system prompt, welcome message. This whole AI thing is all about like prompt engineering. Before it was like, if you were a developer and you were good in Google searches, then you would find like the right things to do. Like these days, I really think that as a developer, we should learn how to write good prompts to work with AI. If you don't use AI, I believe you're much slower. in some cases. Like a few weeks ago, I had to create a recursive loop or a recursive function, and like I made a mistake, and AI was faster than me in resolving it. So I was like, I felt dumb, but like it's cool that it existed. So anyway, so here there are two modes to have like this chat window. So dialogue or inline. If I would just do dialogue here, like, and I would fire this page, like straight away it would open up a dialogue window. So typically what you would do for this is like you would have a button, chat, or like something in the navigation bar where you have chat, and then this would open up. I don't think like I wanted to have a chat on my page, so I am not going to use the dialogue. I'm going to use inline, and then you have to provide a container. And like typically, like what I thought I had to do is like probably I have to provide a static ID, like chat, and then go in here and then provide like this ID here. But then like when I run the page, like I get this and it didn't work. So what it means, this container selector, like one tip is always go to the help. And this really means like jQuery selector. Like you can use, if you want to use the ID, you would use like this sign. If I wanted to use a class, I would use a dot sign. So when I do that, and I would now go in here, it's still not working for some reason. So chat here, maybe I didn't save my static ID. It is here.
Huh?
That's strange.
No,
Oh,
no.
now it's here. It was probably like, let me just close this one. Okay, so I can ask the same name, like it should have, like, give me a cool name, something like this. Like typically I ask first, like, who are you? And then it replies with some things. So here, like it said, like, those are the names. What is interesting, it's a little bit different than those here. And actually, when I tried it before the call, it was more in line with this. Now, it depends, like, which ChatGPT or like which model are you using. So I have one here as well. Like this is my local ChatGPT. If you want, I can quickly select a model, ask the same question, give me a cool name. Where is here? And then like this happens as well. Like when you work with OpenAI, or with anything, like sometimes it takes a long time to come back. Like what is in Apex is quite interesting. Like here it gives me like a different name. Like why is it doing this to me? So why did what I have here in Apex, why did I get this answer? I really wanted to know, like, why do I get that? Because I asked the same question, give me a cool name. So to answer that, like what you can actually do is you can debug your own session. So maybe this is a bit far for this call, but like anyway, I'm going to tell you like how to do it. So monitor activity. You can actually see the calls going to OpenAI here, web service activity log, or you can, what I typically do is I go to active sessions, which is my session here. Let me quickly see 701 at the end. So 701, I'm going to put this in debug mode. Apex trace, like this is the highest level that I can go to. And I just run, make sure that I have that. So now if I ask this question and again, like give me a cool name, like now it's thinking and sending it to OpenAI. And then here, now I get some different names. But now, like, I should be able to see like what it has been doing. So this is my debug ID. I can click on it. And now I should hopefully see like what it is actually doing here. So I can go like down, but if I go really down, at some point you will see the prompt that it generated. Like, well,
Maybe if you search for cool name or something.
I think I took the wrong entry. Let me quickly check again. So go. Or I'm having the wrong session ID.
I think because you
Questions.
also, it's the same session as your developer session. So you just saw, I think it was an Ajax call from the Apex backend app.
Yeah,
like from
yeah.
the
But
page.
why normally I need to see my other like this is all like administration.
Uh,
Strange. I have too many sessions open, I think. Like here, the same session. Like if I would log out here and sign in again.
I need to debug again.
Yeah. So let's go back here, active sessions. So just to make sure it's like 122 at the end. So I should see it here. 122. I can put this one in debug mode. Here we go. Apex trace. And then go give me a cool name. And then let's see if I find here a bit more things. So here, Ajax, it came back. And here now, you see, now it came back with this one, which I had before too. Let's see if. So here, I can actually see like which post it did. And I think it's before or after. You can actually see the full system prompt that it is doing. Somewhere. So it's not showing up for me live. Okay. Apex trace. Yeah. Like you can try it again. Like I don't want to spend too much time on it. But like what is interesting here is that like it all depends on how many characters are you sending to the LLM. And what if I wanted to influence this thing with data coming from my database? So this is really what the Apex team provided as well. Like you can go in here and then you can give the LLM your data. So I can change the system prompt, but it's actually cooler what they did is you can go into your, you can create a configuration. So let's create a configuration here. So an AI configuration, let's just call it like test, doesn't matter how it's called. And then I will use this OpenAI service. Here's my system prompt. I can provide that. But what is even cooler is this part here, reg sources. So if you want to provide your own data to this AI, you provide a reg source. So I'm going to create a reg source. So there are a few options here. They cover it in like the office hours, but like a SQL query is very easy to do. And I wanted to give like a few names. So what I did is I just Dimitri, and I said this is the cool name, and it's this day, and I do a loop. So I have 5 of those Dimitri 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I give it like a name, like cool names or something. And then you have to provide the description. So your OpenAI or your LM needs to know what is this thing that you're going to provide. So I'm going to say, when asked for cool names, use this cool names provided by the rack list. And that's it. Or no, this is, I should use this. This was my system prompt. I should change this description, just cool names. So here, cool names provided by rack. And then when asked for cool names, this is my system prompt. So I tell the LLM, like, use this, or tell AI, use my rack list first, and then provide that instead. So if I say, or what are cool names? Like, hopefully it comes up with my Dimi rack 1. It doesn't. Why doesn't it do it? Because I didn't provide my configuration. So let's change it. And this is like, when you play with it, like, there's so many details where you have to look into. Like, if you just use this, or here, now I'm going to use the configuration. So let's see if it changes. What are cool names? So now
Wow.
I have
Cool.
my things. So this is where you really combine your own data with like other things. Like, do you have other cool names than the ones you gave? I don't know what it will do with that, but
It's
this
following
is
your
not
prompt.
cool. Yeah. So this is, again, like, here you really need to see, like, what will your prompt look like. And so when I tracked a few things. So this is one example of the cool things that they provided with AI. But like, you have also AI built into Apex now. So into SQL Workshop, you can go into SQL Comments. There's an Apex Assistant here, which opens up on the right-hand side when you enable it for the to be used inside the app builder. But there is also this data model thing. So here, create data model using AI. This is quite interesting too. And this is what I like debug myself. Like, what are they actually doing? Like, what are they sending? Because like, I can have quick SQL, like create me a model for smart building tracking system or something like that. So they are sending something to OpenAI, or they are sending my question, and they will get back like quick SQL. So here, like, I found this is quite fast and interesting that like OpenAI knows this, because if I would ask this to just like ChatGPT, like, would it know that or not? Like, depending the model, like I got a lot of like things that I'm not very much with. Like, so this is definitely an area where I see that the integration with AI and Apex is really nice, because you cannot go to the web and get something similar unless you use the same prompt. So this is what I looked at, and I will just, instead of like, I try to show you how to trace it, but like, this is the system prompt that they use. And I wondered, like, how does OpenAI know like my quick SQL things? Because they give it with it. So this whole prompt, like, it's huge, like it's like 13,000 characters, is being given to produce like this quick SQL thing. So
Oh wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
yeah. And so then of course, like, the next thing what I tried is like this, I copy that and I go to like ChatGPT here, and then like I provided the same prompt, and then I got a similar result. And then I tried with 01, which is super, super good compared to like 4.0. And like you get different things. Still, it's very nice. Yeah. So this is a bit my exploration with AI into Apex 24.2.
And
I really sorry.
yeah, one question, Dimitri. Like you have the configuration in place with your rack source being a SQL statement. Can you have
Mhm.
multiple sources in one configuration?
Yeah, you can do that. So when you go here, your components, and then so AI configurations, I can open my configuration and then add
Oh
other
yeah.
things to it. So here, create rack source,
All right.
and then I can
Yeah,
provide
that is
another one.
cool.
But like, and so here is a big thing to learn, because like you probably don't want to do the SQL query like this. Like if you are on 23 AI, I would first use a vector to get more condensed information. Actually, in the office hours, I think Tufik or somebody like mentioned it as well. This is like, we didn't touch on another feature like rack support, so, or vector support.
Vector, yeah.
So you can create vectors in search configurations. So we are not really going into that, I think, today. But another feature is in search configuration. Where is it? Search.
On the
Here,
left, yeah.
search configuration. So here you can create like a vector search. And then like, so for your data, you would create vectors. And then you would first, like you would use a prompt to find the closest data. And then you would just provide this data to OpenAI. And then you have less, you use less tokens. Every token, like every data that you send across will cost money. So the less information you can send, the better. So this is where I would use, like, I would first create vectors, then use this rack data source and provide that instead. I see that we are already like 5:13, so I don't want to take too much time either. But I don't know if there are other questions. Like,
Plumman just mentioned that when you asked to give other names, it still gave the same names that you probably should have told the system prompt to prioritize the rack, but also
of
add
course,
its own.
yeah.
Yeah, I really like the rack capabilities. Makes it really low code fashion to add rack.
Yeah, and for me, like this AI integration, first I was very skeptical in that sense, that like, what is the built-in functionality compared to what I can have like with say GPT, and then just like my own model of whatever I will use. But I do see like the integration, what they did, and like you don't have to provide the system prompts, and like the tighter integration that they did, it's quite interesting. And I think it's just the beginning.
Yeah, also the integration with your own data
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite easy.
is a big advantage. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, you have to manually like create a glob with all the context to give it to it. But now, like, just add a SQL statement. That's low-code Apex style. Question for the chat: what's your favorite feature of Apex 24.2? Curious to find out. And yeah, think like I like the release. It's nice.
Yeah, it's definitely
there are a
an
lot of new
interesting
features
release.
still to explore, I guess.
Yeah.
And we are only 3 weeks further, so
Yeah, that's true.
and really use it. Like, what is interesting, like I didn't show it, but let me quickly show you that, because this is interesting as well. So I wanted to clean up, like I prepared a bit what I was going to show, of course. And so I wanted to delete this configuration. What do you think happens when I delete this?
Unique constraint violation.
No, just an error. So it should say like, hey, you cannot delete this because you're using it
It's used in the
on
page.
on page 1. Like this would be the perfect error. Like if I would delete it and then I can, like, if I wouldn't use it, then I can delete it, of course. But like, I think we will see many of those small things that need to be enhanced over time. But yeah, this is where we as a community come in and give feedback to the Apex development team.
Also, like we still wouldn't have 24.2 if every tiny little thing would have been fixed beforehand.
Yeah.
Karen has a question. How far do you think we are from asking questions of my database instead of writing queries?
Well, if you have RAG and vector supporting your database, you can also generate SQL based on human language, right? So you can ask a question about your data, and then Oracle comes back with a SQL statement. So
This
I
is
don't think
actually
we're
what
very far.
we did. Yeah, like last year, like Vito and I, we gave a presentation, and like we use that technique too. But it all comes down to like security too. Like if you allow any SQL statement, it's not cool. So how do you prevent that they can ask things that they shouldn't see? So it's easy to do, but it's not as easy to have implemented well.
And I still think like we have a static data model. Like I don't see us getting close to dynamically adding tables with AI. We still like have the authority about our data model, and like SQL is the answer to like questioning your data model in a structured way. I also our applications, right? Like we get a task from clients, from users. At this page, I want to see this. So it's also like a static requirement. So I would say you want to add a static query. I think like the chatting, adding a chat to ask like specific and unique questions that currently are not visible is nice. But like I don't see ourselves like having only a single page with a chat and like that's the application. I still think we want to see like an app that you can actually click around. Maybe like the next step is actually not building apps for humans anymore, just like REST endpoints that other LLMs can use, and yeah.
Somebody said, like, will the new internal firewall feature of 23 AI help with controlling the queries? I didn't play with the internal firewall, but I expect so. To be honest, like I expect that Apex will provide us like just enable these tables to be used by AI. Just like I see it as user interface defaults, like you would AI enable tables, and then you can customize like what can be done, maybe some extra things, but yeah, like.
But I guess
it will
also
be
row level.
easier.
Row level is also important. That for client A shouldn't get client B's data into the AI prompt. So I guess a virtual private database is also a feature that you probably want to use, where you can restrict basically where clauses.
VPD, RAS, real application security, like all those things, like Apex should take into account, I think. Same with like this internal firewall, maybe like.
I also haven't played with the firewall thing. All right. I think we can like we are over time, but we can we had a nice chat. I really liked it. Thanks everybody for showing up. You can watch the recording on YouTube. It's, I think, immediately there. And hope to see you all in the next United Codes Live. And thanks, Dimitri and Kevin, for joining me.
And thank you, Philippe.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Have a great day. Enjoy 24.2.
Yeah. Bye-bye.